So yeah, so it's been a year. It's been one whole year since I uploaded my first video to the channel. And what video was that? That was the first one I posted was a trail called Doggers, and it was at Coast Gravity Park. It's like the shortest, it's got to be like the shortest trail in the world. It's only like a few seconds long, but I really wanted to post something on the channel to get it rolling, because at the time I was right in the middle of putting together Coastal Escape, which was kind of like the first main sort of featurette for the channel. And so I needed something on the channel to kind of get it going. And it kind of spurred from there, but we're going to talk more about how this channel started in a little bit. But first, I, being that it's been a year, I figured I'd bring back some classics. I mean, I've got the red flannel. The red flannel had to happen, of course. It was in my very first video that I posted. I swear it's probably in half the videos, at least, of all the videos that I posted. And you know what? This isn't like my uniform, although it kind of seems like it is now. And people are so used to it at this point, but I never really planned on wearing this all the time. It's just that I always ride in like cold, damp places. And it seems like all the rides when I'm like traveling somewhere, we always start like really early in the morning. It's always freezing cold. And so this is like the best thing that I have to wear that's like in between a jersey and a jacket. When I don't want to wear a jacket, then I wear, but it's still cold, I'll wear this. Crazy and like freezing cold, like 3 degrees kind of thing. All right. The other thing I had to bring back, Ruby Tears has been in at least, I think, 3 of my videos. So I figured I better go get some Ruby Tears as well. So cheers, everybody, to a year. It's because of you guys. Like, really, if you guys didn't watch the videos and sub and like and comment, I would be talking to myself right now. But instead, I'm talking to you guys, and I really appreciate that. So cheers. Let's check out the chat here. Oh, I'm putting my beer on my laptop. Don't do that. Live Free and Shred. What you drinking? Just answered. Ruby Tears. It's such a good beer. I think it's from BC. Yeah, Parallel 49. So it's from Vancouver, actually. They do really good stuff. Hey, Bennett. Kevin Shankland. How's it going, Luke? Carson. Yeah, everyone's starting to hit the chat. Oh, and Justin just went on the trails in Cranbrook and they're looking good. That's awesome. I'm going to be in Cranbrook in like 2 weeks. I've got the beginning of this really cool road trip with Mountain Biking BC. It's like sponsored by Mountain Biking BC, which is insanity. And so we're going to be going, and not only me, but my wife and my kids, we're all going to be riding trails with them, and then just like me and a guide. And we're going to hit bike parks. It's going to be such a good trip. I can't wait for it. It's great. 2 weeks. Yep. How does one in New Hampshire get Ruby Tears? That's a good question. I don't know how it is with like BC beer outside of BC and Alberta. Like a lot of times I have to go into these places and ask for what I'm looking for. Like, for example, there's this like, Beth really likes cider, and I really like good dry ciders, like really dry ciders. And I had to go in and ask for one called Duke's cider. It's like super white trash cider. At least it's like cans, like the logo is awful, but it's like one of the best ciders out there. And it's also one of the cheapest too, which is awesome. It's like one of the only actual dry ciders. So you got to go in and you just ask and ask and ask and ask. And now I can get Duke's here, when before you pretty much can only get them in mountain towns for some reason or another. Luke asked, did you ride in Edmonton today? I did ride in Edmonton today, Luke, and I passed a couple people that said hi, so maybe you were one of them. All right. So yeah, so on this live stream, I really wanted to. I wasn't sure if I was going to do the live stream or not, and I decided to because, well, actually, some of the guys in our little like YouTuber group convinced me to. It's like, no, it's like 1 year. You got to get on a live stream and say hi to everybody. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Do like a little Q&A kind of thing. Talk about the channel, where it's been, where it's going, how we can ride together, and all that kind of fun stuff. And then just like take your guys' questions, like big Q&A. So ask any questions you want, whether it's like about the channel, about camera gear, about bikes. Like, I'm just here to hang out, drink good beer, answer questions. And a little bit later, we're going to have some other mountain bike YouTubers join in. There's no actual like planned thing for it. I'm just going to drop the link for this live stream in like our little YouTuber group. And so then we'll just see what happens, see who comes up, see who shows up to chat, which would be pretty cool. All right. And actually, you know what? Before we get going, there's one thing that I really wanted to do in this live stream, and that is introduce you guys. And you've seen little blips of these fine people here and there already, but I really wanted to like introduce you guys to my family, to my wife Beth and my boys Casey and Tom, because they are a massive part of this channel. So we should bring them in. I think I hear whispering in the hall. I'm like, oh, you guys are going to be on camera today. So you guys out there? Yeah. Well, come on in. Oh, hi. So come over around over here. Okay. Oh, look who it is. This is, wait, come over on this side. Make sure you guys can see yourself. Can you see yourself on there?
Yeah, but
so
can you move this?
Yeah, I can move that for a sec. So that's the camera right there. See up there? The little white light?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, say hi.
Hi.
There's a bunch of people watching right now. That's kind of weird, hey? Live streaming's weird. And look, here's Beth. Somewhere over there. There's Beth. Yeah. So so why don't you introduce yourselves? So what's your name?
Casey.
You got to speak a little louder.
Casey.
And who's this?
Tom.
And who's this?
Beth.
And what's your favorite trail to ride, Casey?
I don't really know. There's a bunch of trails that I really like.
A bunch? What's the first one that you think of that was really fun?
Birdhouse.
Birdhouse Trail? Yeah, that's a good one. Birdhouse is it's a fun trail if you have the legs for it, because it's kind of flat, but it's rolling, and there's like, you could really pump off of different stuff. And so Casey really likes that. And there's also some exposure. It like just drops to the river, and Casey likes dangerous stuff like that. So that makes sense. How about you?
My favorite trail is soft yogurt.
Soft yogurt. Yeah. Sweet. Does anybody in the comments know where the trail soft yogurt is? See if there's anybody from Alberta. There's one tip, one hint. Delta Dog says the Loam family. Kevin wants your fox shirt. He loves it. Just so you know. Oh, there you go. Kaylin, Canmore. Yeah, soft yogurt is in Canmore. Soft yogurt is a super fun flow trail.
Yeah.
With lots of really fun little jumps. And if you do it right, you can transfer and kind of hit more than one jump at the same time, which is pretty sweet. So
yeah. If you go fast enough.
If you go fast enough, yes. And so these two guys, like I was just mentioning before, they're going to be in some more videos this year. And coming up in like 2 weeks, we're going to be filming some stuff with them at a bike park on some trails, and it's going to be pretty sweet. We still got to get you a bike. You don't have a bike yet for this year, so we should probably fix that sometime very soon. He's got his sweet bike. We should do a bike check. She doesn't have a bike either. Yeah, we like sold all the bikes because everybody needed an upgrade, and now we don't have any for them. I have a bike. Tom has a bike. So yeah, we got to get these guys set up with something. I don't know what yet. Does anybody else have kids who ride at all? Oh, Justin, you have a mountain bike. I've seen you ride mountain bikes. Let's see. Calvin says you should ride my new trail in Edmonton. Is it called Hustler? Because if it's called Hustler, I have ridden it, and it's awesome. You did a good job. Hybrid. Oh, interesting. Maybe I'm talking to a different Justin. So, and we don't want to forget about the lady in the back over there. Who's that? It's Bethy. You've seen her before. She was in the first like featurette that we did called Coastal Escape. So she was riding Coast Gravity Park, and she's got more videos coming up pretty soon. Ones that like she's the star of. Hey, Tom, you mind moving over a little bit? Just a little.
I would like to make sure I'm not in this video.
So what are you working on for the channel?
Well, we were working on a video of one of my favorite places to ride and why. So, but it's a secret right now, so I can't say.
Yeah, so that'll be coming on probably like 2 weeks, probably.
That's up to you.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I know I have to sit there and actually edit it together. So 2 weeks. All right. Well, that's great. Thanks for coming in, guys. We're going to do lots of riding this year?
We're already done?
You're already done. Yeah, it's bedtime now.
It's like, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, anything else?
To the people? The people that support Dad? And you.
And you, yeah. You can just say bye if you want.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping in. High five.
Bye.
It's got a Silver Star bike shirt on, by the way. That's awesome. Silver Star is a great mountain. All right, guys. Have a good sleep.
Really ride it.
I'm going to be, yeah, they totally should ride it. I'm going to be sitting here for the next like hour and a half. So I'll see you later.
All right, come on, guys.
Come on.
Come on. All right, see you dudes. And move this mic a little bit closer.
Humans.
Bye, humans.
Bye, people who I don't know.
So that's the fam. Noah says, get your kids Konas. Do Konas make good kids bikes? Like dual suspension, like decent, like 24-inch kids bike? Because Casey needs a 24-inch bike. That's what he needs. Oh, it's getting out of focus again. Now let me do this again. This usually works. There we go. Sweet. Andrew asks, am I going to do any videos with Seth or Phil? I have no idea. We'll have to see. But yeah, I really wanted to bring them in because being on a constant schedule for YouTube and putting out videos is like, it's so much work and you've really got to be passionate about it. And I am, and obviously like it just puts so much time and effort into this channel. But along with that, you know, I have a wife and kids. And so they are inadvertently part of that. They're sucked right into the whole thing. And so they put time into this as well. And they're really like gracious with me when I spend so much time on different things with the channel. And yeah, it's been really cool. And they've been like, I couldn't ask for better support from people. So I definitely wanted to bring them on and to introduce them for you guys because they're pretty cool. They're my favorite. Kate asks, is this my full-time job? No, it's not. It's not even close at this point. So if I were to just like cut out my regular work and just do this, the channel brings in about 10% of what I would need to scrape by paying bills. I was working that out the other day. And so, you know, you can have almost 50,000 subscribers and some videos with millions of views. But the reality of the YouTube side of things is that those views, it's like hundredths of a cent as far as like actual income coming in. So it takes until you get to very, 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 very high numbers in order to consider taking it full time. And even for the people that have really high numbers, it takes a lot of different revenue streams to make that work. So like even for like Seth, you know, he's got over 500,000 subscribers, but I can almost guarantee just from the views alone, he probably wouldn't be making what would be needed to survive. And, you know, be able to go and travel and shoot the videos and spend time on that. It comes from Patreon and selling t-shirts and all those sorts of things, which is always a bit of a source of contention. I think I have 52 Patreon subscribers, which is super awesome. And I do like to put that out there for you guys because it's just a way for you guys to get extra content and exclusive content and stuff. And then also that's just basically the only way. So at the end of every month, I know that I'll get a certain amount through Patreon and then I can put that towards the channel. So it's got to be lots of different income streams. And even like down in the description where there's like all those different links for products, like, oh, these are the pedals I use. Those links, if you guys were to go and buy the pedals using a link or whatever, that also helps the channel as well. So it's like lots of different things that have to go into it for sure. Yes, Dylan, I would be completely broke. All right. Kevin says, I think Giant makes a really dialed kids bike. You know what? Giant doesn't. And I was really surprised at that. I went and looked at like what they offer and it's honestly, it's not so good. Like it's just like really basic parts. And for me, it's all about the geometry for a kid's bike. I don't understand why any bike manufacturer would make an actual mountain bike for kids that have like head angles that are like this, that are just like straight up and down almost. It's so dangerous. Like here's the thing. I wish Pole would make kids bikes and use the same design philosophy. Once again, I'm not sponsored by them. This is just what I actually think. Because when a kid is like learning on a bike or anybody's learning on a bike and being like aggressive on a bike, oh, it's out of focus again. And you know, like, so Zach, well, here's a good example of what I'm talking about. So a couple of years ago, I was riding with Casey, my older son, at Silver Star Bike Park, and he was on a rental bike, and it was okay, but it had a pretty steep head angle. So it was like 70 degrees or something like that, like really steep. And he went off a little bump, like a little jump kind of a thing on a jump line, and he hit a rock that was sticking out of the ground. I actually hit the same rock, sticking out of the ground about that much. And for me, I rolled over it because, you know, a bigger wheel diameter and more weight and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But because his head angle was so slack and his tires are so little, it just stopped him. And he like starfished down the trail, which is pretty terrifying. And I feel like kids' bikes should be long and slack because it's just more stable, and then they won't wipe out and go over their bars as much. Like basically most kids' bikes, the way they're built is how our bikes were built 10 plus years ago. So just to put it into perspective. Oh, BC POV. Congrats on 1 year, man. Let's ride again this summer. We will definitely, we will ride again this summer at least once. I hope you're going to join me in Whistler because that just got confirmed, and I'm going to talk to you about dates. Actually, I can talk to everybody about dates. Doesn't matter. But thank you so much, man, for the super chat. That's really great. Cheers. So yeah, so that's something kind of cool. If anybody is in the Whistler area, I can't make opening day in May, but I just worked it out so that I'm going to be there for Garbanzo Zone opening with. And let's see, I'm going to actually go and look at the dates so then everybody can know. Let's see. So I'm going to be in Whistler filming and riding Creekside expansion stuff and all sorts of things around there from June 18th to June 21st. So 4 days I'm going to be there riding and filming. I'm flying in just to film, and then I'm out, film and ride, and then I'm out again like 3 nights later, basically. So it's going to be so awesome to go and do that. I'm really pumped for it. But yeah, if anybody wants to meet up or if anybody sees me, make sure you come and say hi. I always try and carry stickers in my bag, my little hip bag from now on. And so, yeah, say hi. Always, like anytime I'm on the bike and riding, come and say hi. Never feel weird about coming to say hi to me, because that's just fun. The mountain bike kid says, do you ever ride with your subscribers? Yeah, for sure. I've done 2. Oh, this is super loud. Into subscribers and just wind up riding with them. Like a couple of days ago here locally, like there was just a group of us, and one of them ended up being a Patreon subscriber, but he never said anything. Mike, if you're watching, how's it going? He sent me a message on Patreon afterwards. He's like, hey man, just so you know, like that was a great ride today. I'm like, dude, you didn't even say you're subscribed to me on Patreon. That's awesome. But yeah, yes, I do ride with subscribers. And I guess it's kind of a weird thing. It's like when you say, do you ride with subscribers? That to me is just the same thing as saying, do you ride with mountain bikers? Yes, I do ride with mountain bikers. All right. What kind of non-downhill racing bike do you recommend? What kind of non-downhill racing bike do you recommend? If it's for racing, like all out speed, I would say a 29er. It depends what kind of racing you're talking. I'm going to assume like enduro, maybe kind of a thing. I would say a 29er. Like the pole has been great. There are so many other awesome ones out there. The Rocky Mountain BC edition Instinct looks insane. The Ripmo looks awesome. Like, oh, this year in the last like 12 months, there have been so many killer 29-inch bikes put out. So yeah. Hey, biker, congrats, buddy. I'm stoked for you and your channel. Awesome growth over the last year, dude. Thanks, man. Cheers. Hopefully you can pop in a little bit. I'm going to send you guys that link pretty quick here. Cheers, man. That's awesome. That's great. Ben Stroll asks, are you planning to ride in New York State anytime soon? I'm supposed to. So like I'm a photographer. That's just like what I do for my living. We run a little photography business just kind of like out of our house, and I shoot lots of like architectural work and stuff. Hold on. There we go. And I'm supposed to go and photograph some really really, really fancy staircases in New York at some point. We were supposed to do it last year and it didn't happen. And so it might happen this year. And honestly, the best way to get me somewhere is to book me for a job for photography, because I have to go there because it's my job, and then I'll bring my bike. But yeah, so if that job works out, I've got a house or a staircase to shoot on Long Island, and then I would be renting a car and driving to Pennsylvania to do another shoot out in the country there somewhere. So I know there's plenty of good riding in between Long Island and like middle of Pennsylvania. I can't remember where exactly. I'd have to look, but that would be the plan. So hopefully that happens. All right. So one sec. I'm going to put a link together for these guys to send it out. Where's everybody from? I'd like to see where everybody's at coming in from. Come on, Evernote, work. New Brunswick, nice. Ontario, West Virginia, USA, Nebraska, Billy, New Hampshire, Fruta. Oh man, I'm supposed to be going to Fruta at the end of this week and it didn't work out. I am so bummed about that. I wanted to go and do a whole bunch of stuff in Fruta, including going to the Fruta Fat Tire Festival, hanging out at MRP, going for a ride with those guys, trying out the new ribbon coil. Oh, and like hanging out with the Crashing Dad and a bunch of other YouTubers. Like, it was such a good trip all lined up, and I couldn't make it happen. It just didn't work out in the end, which is too bad. Calgary, nice. Calgary's like 3 hours south from here. Minnesota, New Zealand. Wow, what time is it in New Zealand right now? Ontario, Mississippi, Indonesia. That's awesome. Cranbrook. That's great. Whoa, Justin with a big super chat, $50 super chat. Man, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I will see you soon. That's going to be great. I'm going to definitely keep in touch with you on that. Right now, man, that's great. Thank you so much. That's such a big help to the channel. And like, as you guys know, everything that comes into the channel, I throw back at the channel again. So every dollar that I've made so far on this channel, I keep a little spreadsheet. And so for every single cent that's ever been spent on the channel, it's just gone to like either fix my gear, buy better camera gear, or send me to places to keep making videos. So that's a huge help. That's awesome. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was looking at my calendar. I'm going to be in Cranbrook. I can't remember if I'm doing Panorama or Cranbrook first. I think I'm going to Cranbrook first. So I'll probably be there from the 16th of May to the 18th. But we'll talk more about that. Just shoot me a message. Yeah, I know Fruta's going good right now. I can guarantee, yeah, like it's got to be nice out there. Oh, that's great. Nelson, BC. Oh, I'm going to be going to Nelson this year too. I am going to, as far as like interior and Eastern BC, I am going everywhere this year with Mountain Biking BC. So there's this thing called the Dirt Epic 8, and it's basically like Mountain Biking BC and BC Tourism's way of highlighting places that aren't Squamish and Whistler, basically. Like they promote that stuff too. But as I know, and more people should know, interior BC has insane riding. Like if you've seen some of my videos, I've done a bit of it, like the Panorama area and like the Hopeful Trail. And there's like Revelstoke and Golden. Like it just never ends with insane, beautiful riding zones like Nelson, BC, not New Zealand. And yeah, I know Nate Hills have put out a bunch of videos from that. Alex Chamberlain's put out some videos. And you guys got to get out there. Anyways, so clearly very passionate about this. But so there's this thing called Dirt Epic 8. So it's 8 different stops that they kind of want people to almost like check out like a road trip on. And so I'm going to be going on that entire trip. I'm doing 2 first with the family, and then I'm doing the other 6. either with myself or I'm going to be joining up with some other YouTubers along the way. So it's going to be a sweet road trip. And I'm just talking to some people about it right now. So it's going to be incredible riding. And one of the places that I'm going is Nelson and Caslow, which is just south, I think, and Roslyn and Revelstoke and Golden, including the bike park, and Invermere, Panorama, Kimberly, Cranbrook. Like it's going to be an absolutely insane summer and fall for sure. Hey, John, thanks, man. That's awesome. Thank you very much. That's great. It says, thanks for helping with making my winter bearable. Oh, man. Yeah, no problem. I have a new giant bike for the summer, but I'm currently stuck in Yellowknife for work. Love the channel. Keep up the content. Love from PG. That's great, dude. How is it in Yellowknife right now? Like, so if you guys don't know, Yellowknife is north. Like, I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, which for most of you is very north, but Yellowknife is like, he takes the cake on that one. Yeah. Have the trails cleared at all up there? What is it like to ride up there? I'm so curious. Jerry says, been watching all your vids. The ski biking one is still by far the best. I'm doing that before I die. Yeah, man, you should do that. They're going to get me a demo ski bike to use for next year when hopefully I'm going to be living like really close to the mountains. So I'm going to do some more videos with that because that is way too much fun. And I think it's like a good skill builder for the summertime because it's such a strange feeling. Like you saw in the video, it's a drift. So like you turn your front wheel and then you have to anticipate the rear wheel just being like, it feels like a really flat tire that endlessly kind of rolls over itself. It's a really weird feeling, but it's good though. It's good. Outdoor Gold says, yeah, try Fruita Moab again in October. It comes back nicely by then. It's about to get hot over here. Yes, totally. And that's what I'm kind of thinking is the fall for Fruita and Moab and Grand Junction. So hopefully that works out. Let's see. Ruthucker, something like that. Ryan, your Whistler videos are awesome. I really want to go to BC, but I live on the East Coast. You were the first YouTuber I started watching. Thanks. It feels like you're bringing me along on your trips. Oh, that's awesome, man. So there's some cool places to ride on the East Coast as well. Obviously, BC is kind of, I mean, it's BC, right? It's just insanity. So yeah. I don't know, make it out here. You know, if you mean like East Coast, like Canada, there's some cheap airlines coming up for like really cheap flights to get from East Coast to West Coast. So maybe look into that because you could probably fly into Vancouver. Hey, Justin. Awesome, man. That's great. Thank you very much for the super chat. 16th, 18th. Darn, man. I hope we can ride in the afternoon because I got school. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be there for a couple of days. You can ride your bike from Cranbrook to Kimberly on a trail that is paved called Rails to Rails. Oh, that's cool. What's up, Michigan? Am I going to Crankworx? Asked Delta Dog. It depends on my schedule. We are hopefully moving this year, and that's going to be like right over top of where Crankworx is because it's usually like the first couple of weeks of August. And so if that's the case, if I were to take off to Crankworx in the middle of moving and leaving my wife with everything, I don't think that would work out very well. So we'll see. We'll see. Blake says, what's a skill you're really good at and also not too good at? A skill that I think I'm good at is straight line speed over really rough stuff. I don't mind just like letting the brakes go and just flying over really rough things and kind of holding my composure through that. And that's one of my most favorite things to do too. Like just at the point where you can barely hang onto your handlebar, that's my favorite right there. So I feel like I'm good at doing that. And what am I not so good at? I'm always working on cornering, but I've been taking all these like different lessons that people have been giving me, like Alex and like Eric from BC POV with the whole point your pecker thing. That sounds weird if you don't know what I'm talking about, but you know, all these different tips, and I've really been working on them any chance I've been able to get. So today I was working on them and I set really good times on the trails I was on, and I was feeling great. Like when I was like pointing the hips, dropping the outside foot. And the biggest thing for me, and what I've had to get used to with the pole, the Evo Link, is that I've got to keep my weight over the front because with such a long, like a slack head angle and such a long top tube, if I'm going into a corner and I'm like pushing back like this, like, oh crap, which I find myself doing on that bike because I'm actually just entering faster than I feel comfortable with sometimes and that I'm used to, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm almost falling off the back. So there's zero weight on that front tire going into the corner. And that's what I've noticed this year is that I don't have the cornering traction. And I'm only now realizing it's because of how I'm weighting that bike. The bike needs to be weighted right over the handlebars and to keep yourself very neutral, if not a little bit forward. So now that I'm learning that and better body technique, it's coming along. So I'm really pumped that I'm actually making headway on that for sure. Do you plan on riding at Blue Mountain when you come to PA? Yeah. Yep. I would definitely want to be doing that. John says, snowed today. Fat bike scene is crazy. Lots of crown lat used for trails. Very rocky. Inspiring to see so much enthusiasm for biking this north. That's really awesome. Yeah, I mean, fat biking, the scene would have to be crazy because it's just cold and snowy for probably most of the year. Like I know for Edmonton, we get like 6 months of winter. It's pretty brutal. So I would only imagine it'd be a little bit more. Canadian MTB asks, when will I be in Nelson? I don't know, but it'll probably be late August, early September, most likely. And what time is it? I should, I'm going to bring in some of those YouTubers if they want to, if they. Can I figure this out? I'm going to go to our little group. All right. YouTubers that are in that group, I'm going to send a link. So if you guys want to pop in, you just go for it and we'll chat and hang out a little bit. Here we go. So I'm going to send the link. Send it. Oh, it didn't send the link. Let's try this again. There we go. See if anybody bites. What age did you start mountain biking? From Ben. I started mountain biking when I was a kid. I was, it was like 1996. So I would have been 12. Yeah. Would have been 12. And that's, I was riding, what was it? A Fila incline. And so I don't know who actually made the Fila bikes, but it was like Fila branded, like the shoes. And it was super heavy. And the first thing I did with that bike is I went to the bike shop and I bought every mountain biking club. Like I was just like, I'm going to be a mountain biker and I'm going to do this. And so I got a bike and then I covered it in stuff and showed up. And it was like, you know, the kickstand, it was like the rear view mirror. It was all sorts of weird stuff on it all over the place. And the first thing that happened was my coach, he's like, so just take everything off and then we can go ride bikes. Oh, hey, look who it is. Hi, Eric.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm all right. I was just outside filming a bike check.
Oh, well, finally. Like, dude, do you know that if you type in your name into YouTube, the first thing that comes up is BC POV bike check?
Definitely mentioning that in the video. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. Very nice.
Am I holding the phone the right way? Is it supposed to be vertical or horizontal or?
I don't think it matters. It looks fine vertical if you want to do that. Yeah.
Cool.
But that's cool. So how you been?
Good. Yeah, just super busy. Just finished cutting together the Bellingham video when we rode together. So
yeah, sweet.
That's definitely a good one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what was I going to say? So like as far as your van build goes, how much further are you on that? I haven't seen any updates.
Yeah. So we framed in the countertops.
Oh, cool.
And what else have I done since the video? Yeah, we did a bunch of countertops. I have it at a friend's place right now to put window frames in because they're like round.
Oh yeah.
All the corners are round, and I don't know how to make round things out of wood. So I'm having a friend do that for me. He's like a woodworking expert. So
yeah,
it's over.
That makes sense. I have no idea how to make round things out of wood either. Surprisingly enough.
Yeah. So,
No, that's cool, man. I got a $2 super chat from Justin. He asks, "What do you think of Trek bikes?" What do you think of Trek bikes, Eric?
Yeah,
We
I'm
have a
gonna
Trek
mention
bike.
that in the video in the bike check a bit, because obviously I was riding the Slash before this one. Basically, I think they're a little bit expensive for what you get. And like my Trek, I found it creaked a lot, and I would always have to like take it apart, grease things up. So I wasn't super stoked on it. It definitely rode really well, but I thought like reliability wise, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be for such an expensive bike. But
yeah, that thing is that because it was a Slash, right? Like that thing is a premium bicycle right there. Well, and also, I mean, you have to give it that you were riding it during like the dustiest summer and spring and fall known to mankind in BC.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of those integrated headsets, and that's kind of the problem too. And a lot of bikes have that these days.
Yeah.
But the other thing was it had the press fit bottom bracket, which those things are the bane of my existence.
Yeah, for sure. I know my new one has the screw-in ones, which is the threaded ones, which is super nice. It's been so much easier to take care of for sure. So you're gonna come out to Whistler? May as well ask you right here.
Yeah, man. Like, as much as I can, I'm trying to decide whether to get the 5 pass, the 10 pass, or just go for the full season pass.
Ooh, big spender. Well,
yeah, but there's so much good riding there, right? So
there is, yeah, and lifts are nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So so I'm gonna be there. What was that?
Oh, I said why pedal when you can sit on the lift?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm going to be there from like a Monday to a Thursday, and I'm just going to be riding every day. And apparently Jordan's going to come out, Jordan Boostmaster. And I've decided that I have to do another Technique Tuesday with the Boostmaster on how to boost jumps, because
he boosts so hard. Like he can pull so hard.
Crazy, man. Like I was riding behind him. I was last in the group because I was definitely the slowest by far in Bellingham, but riding behind him on very much a trail bike trail, and he's on an 8-inch traveled downhill bike, just blasting off of the smallest little things and like tripling stuff. I could not believe it. Like, we want to talk about like things that I couldn't believe that I've seen this year. 1, the speed from Alex Chamberlain, and 2, the boosting from the Boostmaster. Both of those things blew my mind.
But yeah, I guess those skills just take time, I guess. He's been doing it for a long time. Like he's one of the OG YouTubers, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, and you know what? I was gonna say that. Like I was gonna talk about the beginning of the channel and how like only up until very recently did I ever watch any mountain bike YouTubers. I actually, when I first started the channel, I didn't think anybody else was doing it. I thought I was the only one that had like a gimbal and was gonna like talk while I ride. I thought I was like super original. And then one day I see this video pop up and it's Brian. And I'm like, dude's been doing this for like 8 months already.
Yeah. Well, he beat us by at least a year.
Yeah.
And then before him, well, Nate doesn't talk that much, but he's like the original gimbal guy, I think, pretty much.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah. Like for me, what made me start down this road was I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was in like Pemberton or something where the video's from, but it won like a pink bike / GoPro thing a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it was just like a gimbal shot of him flying down a trail. It was on a nollie bike. I remember that as well. And I'd never seen a gimbal shot before. And he was like really flying down the trail. So like his arms and the bike are just like all over the place. Blew me away. And the quality was so good because it was like 4K and I'd never really seen that before. And I'm like, I need to do that, because up until that point, I was making videos. Like there's videos that I've just generally posted on like on Facebook and stuff like a couple of years ago of my trips out to Silver Star or out to Kicking Horse or out to Whistler. And they're brutal, but I've been posting it and like trying to get chest cam footage because I thought that looked faster. But then to see that quality, it was madness. So it was from that video that I decided, okay, I'm going to get all that stuff and I am going to document all the trails in my town. that's why I started this channel, was just document stuff. And I think it's the same with you, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, like my first video, like it was just I thought it was going to be more like Nate Hill's, and I thought it was just going to be more of just like documenting trails and just riding with minimal talking.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it's definitely more interesting if there's a bit more talking and a little bit more personality in there, and more of a storyline. So yeah, I don't know if anybody can repeat what Nate has done. Like I think you got to have some personality in there these days.
Yeah. Oh, Paul the Punter says Steve Story. Yeah, that's totally who it was. If you guys go and search Steve Story's video, and maybe if you type like Steve Story pink bike winner, I don't know what you should type in, but it's a really sweet video. It's just him riding the trail, but it's so fast and it's so good. It was awesome.
I think he built that trail too, or at least
Yes.
a lot of the videos of his trails as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Well, that's cool. So where are you riding next?
This weekend I got a ride. I ride with a club called NS Ride here in Vancouver, and we're gonna go ride Squamish. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Probably the Alice Lake area. Yeah. Probably a big old slab day.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Man, I'm just so jealous. Trail jealousy.
You're always welcome.
Yep, for sure. I got to get out there as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome, man. It's been good to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get back to filming this bike check, and oh, it looks like Eric just joined. So
sounds good.
Hey, Eric, how's it going?
Hey, Eric.
Just like tag team each other. See if you can just like put your hands to the screens. Yep, there you go. Perfect. All right, see you later, man.
See you, man.
Well, hello, other Eric.
How you doing?
I'm doing very good. How about you?
Good. Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah. 1 year. It feels, if I would say it doesn't feel like it's been a year, but it feels like it's been a lot longer than a year. If I'm being honest, it feels like I've been doing this for a long time in a good way. Like it just feels like something that I've settled into really easily, you know, like it seemed to like tick all the boxes for the stuff that I love to do. So it's been good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think sometimes it feels like it goes by fast, but because of the amount of like effort and work and dedication and sacrifices that we make too, it sometimes feels way longer than a year as well. So it's a really weird feeling. I think I'm at like 8 months or so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. And I was going to say, I forgot to mention when Eric from BC POV was on, obviously you guys all, if you haven't subscribed to Eric, BC POV, and we'll get to the other Eric in a second, make sure you go subscribe to BC POV. It's spelled just like that. He is super fast and he's really good on the BC tech. And when I say he's really good on BC tech, that means he's like world-class on all tech, because BC stuff is off the charts. And so definitely go check out his stuff. And same with Eric, other Eric. He, you know, I think I was a sub to your channel from like the first month or 2 months or something like that when you first started. Yeah, it was great. I loved what you were doing and your story and everything. So I was one of the first. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I remember talking to you pretty early on. I think I had just started my channel and you had been going for a couple months maybe. So
yeah, something like that, like late last year sort of a thing. Like fall or something like that. Yeah. No, it's cool. It's been a fun journey for you, I'm guessing too, right?
Yeah, it's super interesting. I'm working on some trips right now, planning some trips. So
oh yeah, Canada?
Yep. I'm gonna go to Angel Fire. So that's been on my bucket list for a while and it's not that far away.
You broke up only when you said the place that you were going to.
Oh, Angel Fire in New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. That's awesome.
What about you? You have trips coming up?
I am just going to be doing lots of BC stuff. So I've got a couple of videos that I want to film that are going to be just like in and around here. And then, yeah, I mean, like as soon as the snow melts, like how could I not ride like the western half of Alberta and BC? So that's where I'm going to be at.
Starting for you, right?
What's that?
The season's like starting for you now.
Exactly. Yeah. Like honestly, I've only been able to ride here in the last week. Before that, it was mud. And then 2 weeks before that, it was like -20 and snow.
I remember that video that you put out a while ago where you were going down. That was you, right? That you were going down some like snowy mountain and it looked really sketchy.
Yeah, I rode Baseline Mountain like late last year, and that Baseline is like one of the steepest mountains that you can ride, I think, like just consistent steepness.
Yeah.
And it's really loose and loamy, and then it was covered in snow and ice at the same time. And I had I had an aggressor for a rear tire, so almost a semi-slick.
Well, I remember when you were up high, like you were like it was just so easy to lay down your bike.
Yeah.
And then you got down into that like pitted area where it was like really mossy.
The gully.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the gully was awesome. I need to get there again this year, and apparently I need to go within like the next 4 weeks, or else it gets really dusty all of a sudden.
Oh,
and then it's just like really slippery as well. Yeah, it's very like small window of opportunity there, it sounds like. But yeah, it's been very cool, and it was really good to ride with you in Texas. That was awesome. You showed me some fun, sweet trails. So
I need to make it up there.
Yeah, weren't you talking about that earlier?
Yeah,
months ago.
There's a couple places that I'd like to go. I'm trying to knock out a couple close places. Close-ish. It's relative. Like Bentonville is another thing that's on my radar. I'd like to hit.
Oh yeah.
But I would like to do a Pacific Northwest BC and maybe make it a little farther east over to you.
Yeah, that would be great, man. That you're always welcome. It's pretty awesome, and I think, you know, BC, people talk about, you know, how gnarly it is, but there are so many fun trails. I think that's what makes BC awesome, and Alberta too, is that there you can get it. Whatever you want to do. Like Eric, the other Eric, he says, yeah, I'm going to go ride Squamish. And in Squamish, there's like the best flow trails in the world, and the best rock faces in the world, and the best tech in the world, all within.
That's one thing. Whenever I watch Eric's channel, he's like, oh yeah, we're going to do this really steep rock roller. And it's like, I know that it looks like 12 to 15 feet on camera. So it's probably like 30 feet.
Yeah.
It's like rolls down over, and it's probably almost vertical.
Yeah, no, I know. Like there was that one video he did. It was actually the Loam Ranger rock, or Loam Ranger rock roll, or whatever they called it. And he took a bunch of run-ups to that. And if you see him doing that many run-ups, like, you know that it's intense.
I remember that video. I think was that the one where he there was like something to huck at the end, and he filmed his buddies doing it a couple times or something before he did it?
I think so, yeah. But even like him and I, we did a helicopter drop just outside of Whistler last year, and there was a little rock roll along the trail.
I think you're frozen for me.
Run out to it or whatever. Like it's just like straight down and then flat dirt. And I think he ended up putting a slow-mo in of his bike, nearly snapping in half because it was such a crazy G out. So there's lots of fun stuff to ride for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check out the chat here. So what's next for you on the channel?
Well, I'm about to crack 2,500, so that's
awesome, man.
Do that probably in the next couple days, and I'll do it in a live stream on Tuesday too. I'm gonna do some giveaways. I got some like merch. I know you're working on a store, right?
I am working on it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to best get like good quality t-shirts that can be like drop shipped, so I don't have to like order them, have them shipped to me, and then ship them out again. So it's sort of like finding the right place that can like fulfill the orders, but then also be really good quality too. Because I will not send out crappy shirts because nobody wants that.
And drop ship is key too, because like you don't want to like just place an order for t-shirts and then somehow get, wind up with 3 XXL shirts that you can't sell, or like
yeah, exactly. No, that's it. So, it's a bunch of comments came in. I should keep track of this stuff. It's part of my job, right? David says, hey, Lone Ranger, I absolutely love the POV downhill. Thanks, man. I'd love to DH in Whistler. I only got a couple small hills in Ontario. Keep up the content. You're sure to blow up. Yeah. Ontario apparently has some okay zones. And Biking with Panda was saying how I think he said Toronto. He was like, you'd be surprised how many places there are to ride right in the middle of Toronto that are actually fun, which would be pretty sweet to go and check out. And then plus, I mean, I think for you guys in Ontario, you need to go to Quebec or down south, or you can go, yeah, down into like Pennsylvania or New York or whatever. There is places to ride, but I think you're going to have to travel just like I have to. Like for me, I've got the same kind of elevation that you have. And honestly, probably about the same drive that you have as far as length of time to actually get to good riding. So minimum for me is like 3.5 to 4 hours.
Well, farther east, like Nemba Fest is coming up in, what is that, mid-June or something?
Where's that?
I think it's in New Hampshire or Vermont, maybe Massachusetts. Oh, okay. It's wherever Kingdom Trails is.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, there's lots of stuff that goes on out there. And like for me, when I go to Whistler, people are like, oh yeah, you must live like really close to Whistler. It takes about 15 hours for me to get to Whistler.
That's like the distance from here to Moab.
Yeah. And I did that trip 4 times last year.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And then a whole bunch of other trips. Like when I go and film in like Golden, when I do like the bike parks and stuff, that's me driving for 5.5 to 6 hours on a Friday after work, and then sleeping in my car, and then waking up on Saturday and riding, and then driving home after a full day of riding, like 5 to 7 hours.
So I know that you've had like a bunch of, let's call them troubles with flights. Do you prefer at this point flying, or do you prefer driving?
Oh man, driving 100% all day. I will choose drive. I've had really bad luck with flying. Like, as you know, like it's been insane with flying into Texas and with California. Like, I don't think I've had a proper flight yet with stuff, which is making me really nervous for Peru because there's a lot of flights involved.
Oh, yeah. How soon is that coming up?
That's coming up at the end of May. So like, I think I leave on the 25th of May. And so that's flying into like LA, and then LA to Lima, which is kind of like the main hub in Peru, and then Lima over to Cusco. So we'll see. I just hope the bike makes it.
Are you doing a race there, or are you just going down just to ride it?
No. So Sacred Rides, they're like a global bike touring company, and they messaged me at the exact same time I was on their website. Like I was actually like hunting around to try and find the next like big place to go. Like I wanted to go somewhere really international, like beyond the States kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And while I was on their website, they emailed me and they're like, hey, do you want to be an ambassador for Sacred Rides? I'm like, yes, yes, I do. And so they said, oh, that sounds great. And so we'd like you to send you to Peru. And so it's not like a full like paid trip. Like I'm paying for my flight, but they're paying for the actual trip itself. And so it's going to be sweet. Yeah. So I'm going to go and do that. And they're sending me because they don't have a lot of content from Peru, like good quality content. So it works out great for them to send me over there.
Yeah.
They've got like a pretty sweet deal for a referral code for me. So if anybody's ever booking anything through Sacred Rides, you've probably seen it in my comment section and all over the place. I'm pushing it hard because like they really gave me a good rate for a referral code. So if anybody's ever booking a ride through Sacred Rides, you can use Loam Ranger as a coupon code and you save $200 and the channel gets some cash too. So that's why I'm going to Peru, is to go and ride one of their trips, which is like insane. It's like 9 days and it's like a linear trip. The whole trip is almost all linear. So we're not like just going out for a ride and going back to a hotel. Mm-hmm. It's like going out for a ride and then staying at this amazing place way out in the middle of nowhere, going for a ride and then sleeping in a tent that's going to be all set up for us the next day, and then going for a ride and sleeping at like a farm. It's going to be really cool. I'm pumped for it. Yeah.
So your luggage and everything just like follows you.
Yeah, apparently. Supposedly. I don't know. We'll see. But
Ben is asking you about races. I've heard a couple of your race stories.
You say Ben?
Ben Stroll.
Oh, have you ever done any mountain bike races from Ben Stroll? If so, do you have any tips? I'm doing my first ever race run on Sunday. Oh, that's awesome, man. You're probably nervous about it. I know I was like super nervous. I'm always nervous for any race I've done. I've done a grand total of 3 races. I've done a downhill race, I've done a cross country race, and I've done an enduro race. So I've kind of got my bases covered. The cross country race, I was like 15. So I don't know if that still counts, but I did one and I won it too. I won that cross country race. I would never stand a hope in hell of actually winning one now. But when I was 15, yeah, I had those legs going on. But as far as tips, if you can, I don't know what kind of race you're doing, but if you can, ride the lines you're going to ride during your race. That is important. Don't give yourself any surprises during the race run. And I say that because I rode lines that I didn't during practice, and I wound up going down the hill in an ambulance to the hospital on my downhill race. And it's because I was going way faster during my race run. And because of that, I had to choose a different part of this one berm. And there was a big chunk out of that berm that I didn't see because I didn't try it first or scope it out. And that sent me flying. And then now bone sticks out here and my ribs are all messed up. And that is what happens when you ride lines that you haven't practiced.
Looks like there's a bunch of Coloradoians. Is that
how do you say that? Yeah, that's a good question.
Coloradians? I don't know. But yeah, they were asking when you're coming to Colorado. And Colorado, I've been there, and it is, I highly recommend.
Yeah, Blake, I am supposed to be there on Thursday or Friday. That was the plan, but now I've had to cancel those plans, which is too bad. So yeah, I was going to be in Colorado from like Thursday to a Monday or Tuesday, and we were going to do like the Fruta Fat Tire Festival and hang out in Grand Junction with MRP and all sorts of awesome stuff. But it didn't work out this time. The funds weren't there to put the whole trip together. So I'm just going to have to push it off till later this year. But I am going to get out there because it sounds awesome. I'm just begging to hit that high speed section on the Ribbon Trail. Have you seen that, Eric?
Yeah. Yeah. A bunch of guys just met up last week, actually, and read that.
Oh, really?
Like empty being adventures, and I think maybe it was just like a bunch of guys. JF Rides, I think, was there. A bunch of guys from Colorado too. Ride Labs.
Yeah, it looks so amazing. Like, I just love straight line speed, fast as I possibly can get on a bike. That's what I want to do. So it looks like so good.
That I mean, you've ridden here. There isn't a whole lot of that just to like hammer down and let it, just let it fully open.
Yeah.
I have to brake check through a chunk.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And Crashing Dad lives in Grand Junction area too.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and I was gonna stay with Shane. We were working on it and trying to figure all that out, but it just didn't come together, which is too bad. Thanks for the answer, Ryan. Woot. No problem, Blake. See you later, Delta Dog.
Blake, my in-laws live in Colorado Springs, and there is some fantastic trail there. Red Rock's open space, and above Red Rock open space. Hey, Shane's here too.
Hey, Shane. How's it going, man? We were just talking about you. Your ears were probably burning. Yeah, it just sucks that I'm not able to come out. I really wanted to come and ride with you. It's really too bad that didn't work out this time, but I would love to plan out a trip for the fall for sure. See you, Delta Dog. Cheers, man. All right.
All right.
I'm trying to open up my Evernote because I have.
So I'm gonna hop off.
All right, man. Thanks for joining in. Oh, now we have somebody else that's joined in. Who's that shadowy figure?
All right, I'll see you.
All right, see you, man. Oh, hey. Oh, now we got Biker too. Oh man, now it's getting to be trouble.
Oh shoot. Joseph just popped on too at the same time.
That's right. How's it going, boys?
Good, man. Congratulations to you, though, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, one whole stinking year. It's been, it's been a ton of work, but man, it's fun.
That really cracked me up earlier when you said that you had started the channel and you thought you were the only one that was doing it. That's freaking hilarious.
I thought I was pretty badass with what I was doing. I'm like, nobody else out there is doing this. I'm like total pioneer on this. And then I can't remember what it was. I think it was, no, you know what it was? It was I was looking into gimbals and about which one to get. And I wound up on Brian's Theatech gimbal video. And I was like, damn it. He's on a mountain bike. And I thought I was going to be the guy talking with a gimbal on a mountain bike. But nope. All right, time for beer too.
Yeah, I think I was doing it for about 5 months at that point too.
Yeah.
I think there's a handful of people of us smaller guys, but you know, at when you're small, you don't get circulated much.
Yeah, it's true. It's crazy. Like, well, actually, before we go any further, how are you doing, Joseph?
I'm doing great. I look like I'm starring in an indie film though, because I was just doing some talking head stuff, and all my lighting is set up for a completely different angle. So now I just need Simple Plan in the background playing, and I'm good to go. But I'm doing great. I have a Dogfish Head Midas Touch Ancient Ale, which is 9% alcohol by volume. So I've been nursing this bottle for like the past 30 minutes.
Yeah. And Joseph has no pants on.
And yeah, none of us have pants. Well, you have pants on. Nobody else has pants on. Come on. That's great. What was I saying before?
You were the only one who was making videos on the internet ever.
Yeah, I don't remember where I was going with
BKXC, and you're like, he's on a mountain bike somewhere. I'm sure the chat room.
Right. You were saying how, like, you know, the smaller channels don't get circulated that much. It's crazy. Like, it really feels like there are certain levels with YouTube. Like, once you get to certain subscriber counts, it's like YouTube will unlock another level of, you know, reach, basically, right? And it just keeps progressing like that. Like, the higher the numbers of subscribers, the more subscribers per day you will get. That's what I found anyways. It's been like a total gradual curve from the very beginning to where I am now. And then if you look at guys like Brian, what they get per day is a certain number. And then guys like Seth, it's all relative. Like, it's all right there, right? So it's just crazy how things can kind of unlock like that. And videos that like go kind of like viral don't hurt.
That is true. Did he freeze up for everyone else?
Yeah, he's been freezing up here and there. But, you know, it's funny that you say that. I remember when I first started, you know, like, to get to 100 or to 200 or 300, like, you were watching it every, you know, 37 seconds of the day to see that one sub. And now it's like, you know, maybe you're seeing them go by at 100 at a time when you're looking. I can only imagine for them, like, you know, somebody like Seth who gets on and like, oh, there's 10,000 more today, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
I think after a while, also, it's the content, right? If you're you don't get to 100 subscribers by accident, or 1,000 or 10,000, you know, obviously. And, you know, it's kind of a self-feeding cycle. The more subscribers you get, the more pumped you get. You want to do better. The videos get better. More subscribers come. And then, you know, you have a backyard playground for mountain biking.
But you know what? Here's the other thing about it. And this is something for everybody with a YouTube channel or wants to do a YouTube channel, or they have 10 subscribers or 100 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers or whatever. The feeling that you have, and this is just a human thing, the feeling that you have that you want to grow more, it will always be there, and it's not going to change. It's just like somebody who has, you know, this amount of money compares to someone who has this amount of money. Nobody ever feels like they've made it. I don't think anybody will ever feel that way. And you talk to anybody, whether they have, 10 subscribers or 10 million subscribers, you're always working on content to try and bring more people into the fold that enjoy your content. And that's just like, you're always driven to keep building, basically, which is a good thing. Because if we weren't, like, if my goal was 5,000 subscribers, I'd be like, I have 5,000 subscribers. Now I'm just gonna, you know, just kind of keep that rolling right there and not worry about putting out really good content to keep growing the channel, right? So it's a good thing, but it's just something to be aware of. There's never a point, at least not for me, speaking personally, there's never a point where it's like, yes, that's it.
Similar.
I always told myself.
Go ahead.
I always told myself I would do this until it wasn't fun. Yes. Like, everything is work, right? You know, everyone has had that day where we're like, I really don't want to get up at 7 a.m. just to film this one thing, but I really need it for the video. And you get up and you do it anyways. And it sucks if you're not a morning person like me. I'm not a morning person, as Ryan can tell you firsthand. But the final product is always worth it. And when it gets to the point for me where like I put out a video just because I feel like I have to put this video out. It's not because I have a really cool story to tell or really pumped about something. It's like, I got to do this TPS report. When it gets to that point, then I need to find something else. Thankfully, It hasn't gotten that far yet. Obviously, considering, the state of my temporary apartment.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's like, well, so far half the guys that have joined me on this, we're in the middle of working on videos. And that's pretty indicative to like the kind of work that goes into everybody's videos. Anybody who's like dedicated to this whole YouTube thing, everybody's working so hard at it, which is so cool to see. Like you're out there recording your stuff. Eric's out there recording his stuff. And the other Eric is editing work right now. People are taking the time to put out great content, and there's so much of it. There's just so much like heart and soul in this whole thing right now, and it's so awesome to see. And like every day I have all this new batch of videos to watch from such cool people that are putting everything they have into it, and it's for free. Like I just go and I click a button. Like it's incredible the content that we have access to because people are working so hard at it behind the scenes, right? It's cool. I love being part of this community for sure.
I think what you're talking about there too is like another one of those things for people that are starting a YouTube channel. It's like way more work than you think it is. There's like so many people that I talk to and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. And you're like, dude, give up a lot of stuff right now. Like, yeah. I mean, like honestly, what you were just saying, I mean, I was editing at work because like I have dual monitors and everything there, and I was like, oh, it's almost 7. I gotta get home so I can go, get on your live stream. But it's like you're definitely like you're squeezing every minute out of your day to like balance like maybe another job or your family, your relationship, and all that stuff. It's definitely you don't do a lot of sleeping.
No, definitely not. Outdoor Gold's loving your shirt, by the way, Robert. Forever pumped.
Nice. So I unfortunately have missed the majority of this live stream because I was too busy gabbing my face off to the camera. So excuse me if this topic has already been brought up, but what is, looking back, the most exciting thing that you've done, like the coolest thing you're proud of in your channel? And what was something that if you had to do it again, you would do it differently?
Oh man. Yeah, those are some good questions. And they were not asked already. I think the coolest thing that happened that pops into my head immediately with the channel is I put a ton of effort into the first not technically the first video that I put. Technically, the first video was just like a random trail video, but the first real video that I put onto this channel was one called Coastal Escape, and I put months and months of time into that 5-minute video, and it was just so much work and effort. And by the time it was actually released, I'd started working on it like the November beforehand, and it was released in like May, middle of May, and when it actually got released on the Pink Bike homepage, which is quite a feeling, by the way. Like if you don't get your stuff published on Pink Bike very often, the first time that happens, you're like, oh my gosh, I've done it, kind of thing. And like I was in line at the Whistler Bike Park, headed up to go and record more stuff for my channel. And so in that kind of moment, because I put so much work and effort into that video, and I knew what I wanted to do with the channel, and I had all these like goals and stuff, and to be in line working on it, and at the same time seeing my stuff out there and people appreciating it and like commenting, and like that was really the first time that I had like a larger audience say anything about my work having to do with mountain biking or filming or whatever. And so it was a really cool moment, and like that one little span of time, that 10-15 seconds, that feeling really spurred me on to like keep working. And because it was just it was a really cool feeling to have that, I guess, validation, because I'd never done anything like this on that scale or at all, really. So that was probably one of the cooler moments for sure. Like putting my heart into it and then seeing something come out of it. That was sweet. As far as what I would do again, that's tricky. I feel like, or I hope I feel like I'm one of those people that like, I'm okay with when stuff like messes up, because it's just kind of part of the process, and like you'll kind of like make whatever out of it. So I don't have anything really that I can think of that was like, oh, I wish I would have done that better. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Every single video I put out, I'm kicking myself for not doing things better. Like the last one that I just put out about the fitness one, there are like 6 different cuts in there that totally suck and they drive me nuts. Like the audio, I didn't quite catch it in, like it was just like a little blip. And I'm like, damn it. So every single video, there's like tons of stuff that I'm like, I should have done that better. But as far as like a big global, like that sucked, I don't think there is anything, because I just love the process so much, you know?
Doesn't that happen with every one of us though? Like when you put out an edit, like you are happy with it for like 30 seconds, and then you watch it again and you're like, oh man, this is horrible.
This was irresponsible. No one's gonna watch this. I unsubscribe for myself. No, Robert, you.
Well, all right. So actually, Alex Chamberlain brings up a good point. He just says SB videos, frowning face. It's
that
true.
Was unfortunate.
Yeah. And so there were 2 videos that got cut from my channel. I made the decision to take them off to kind of help out a situation that I wasn't really aware of at the time. So I went and filmed a bunch of stuff in certain areas in around the Santa Cruz area. And I did my best, and I tried really hard not to expose exactly where they were. But I guess to a couple people out there, it wasn't quite enough. And so some people were getting heat for it. And so I decided to cut the videos, which sucks. So I would have done that differently, I guess. But I'm not sure how, because those trails were really awesome. And I had an incredible, incredible time that day at the same time. So
it is frustrating. And I mean, like, you know, we've kind of talked in the background about this, that it is endlessly frustrating to know of these awesome trails and you want to share them. You want to show, you know, even to, you know, just to give glimpses of them. You want to show people them and let them kind of find it for themselves, you know, go through the network, talk to the bike shops, make friends that'll take them there.
Yeah.
But from the outside looking in, it looks like they're being overly protective, but seeing some of the hardships that trail builders have gone through to see their hard work get destroyed when, you know, land access rights come into play and they lose that, or a trail gets overrun because everyone figures out where it is and they just start, you know, causing, you know, speed bumps and all these things. It sucks. It sucks that that's the world we live in. But yeah, I don't know.
And then
I guess I always try to look at it both ways.
Yeah, for sure. And like, you know, talking with what's his YouTube name? Mick Trail Rider. I'll use his YouTube name so you guys will go and search for him. But he rides around in Scotland all the time, and you can ride anywhere there. Like it's just take your bike and go and ride, basically, which is pretty cool. And I guess there's a couple other places.
He called it the right to roam.
Yeah. And like Norway, I think, is like that. You could just ride. It doesn't matter where you ride your bike. You're just allowed to go as long as you're not doing anything harmful, right? And you can just go wherever.
I think I have to bring back to the Santa Cruz thing. Alex Chamberlain said the same thing that I was thinking. The thing about Santa Cruz and the UC trail system that you were on is just complete garbage, because there's hundreds of people riding there every day. There's like parking lots full of cars with racks. It is like ludicrous for people to get upset about this place that, like, there's the legal trail is like the only one that you can climb to get to the top. And other than that, everything else is like unsanctioned. And that's the part where it's just like, it's kind of, in my opinion, a little bit bogus. I don't know. I just feel like it's like, come on, guys, really? Like if they were really that concerned about those trails, they'd be having rangers posted at the top and the bottom of that climb. And that would be an issue, you know?
Yeah. You know, Eric brings up a very interesting point. You know, I don't know how accurate the statistic is, but he says 95% of Texas is privately held land. And I'm sure it's probably close to that. But we still have it pretty good here in Texas compared to other places as far as bike access. The majority of the trails that I know of are pretty much bike legal. even if they're not completely sanctioned, most people turn a blind eye to them. In fact, there's quite a few trails.
Where I live too.
Yeah, quite a few trails around the Hill of Life are technically not sanctioned, but everyone knows they're there, so it's kind of like whatever. And the catch-22 of that is that it's multi-access, so there's a bunch of people always walking them because it is gorgeous. So it's kind of this balance that we have to strike between the two. Not that you can gain too much speed here because of the altitude that we have. Anyways, the point is that we kind of live in a bubble, and then I go onto Reddit and I go onto these other places and I see just the massive fights that ensue in California and other places where land access is a huge problem. Man, it sucks. It kind of makes my soul hurt because we're spending all this time arguing about something instead of enjoying it.
Yeah, that's true. I have to cut you off. Biking with Panda's in the chat. How's it going, man? And it's terrifying because he says, I have a big surprise in all caps. And if you know Cash, you know that could mean absolutely anything. Yeah. Oh, he just picked up a camper. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, nice. That's something that I've been looking at doing because, like, man, that sure would be a lot more comfortable than sleeping in the back of the Pathfinder. That's pretty cool, man.
I think I watched that video when you were like explaining your sleeping situation in the back of your truck. I think that was one of the first ones that I watched.
Yeah, you got to have that stuff dialed if you're going to be doing that. Like, you can't. Yeah, you got to do it right.
Especially when you're tall.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And, I don't know. Beth has never car camped with me before. She refuses. So anytime I go anywhere with her and the kids, it's going to be a hotel room. But if it's just me, oh man, I do not want to spend money. Like, I am not going to spend $150 so I can show up, go to sleep and wake up again. No, sir. It'll be sleeping bag in the back of the truck for sure.
I'm kind of the same way. Like, moving from Texas to Colorado, I would love to be able to make it a straight shot, but moving everything with us. And hey, we got a geek.
Hello.
We got somebody else in here. Who is this?
How are we?
Oh, look who it is. It's the smartest YouTuber around. It's MTV.
And he's a Texan.
That's well, yeah, right now he's a Texan, right? Are you still in Texas?
Yes, I'm still in Texas.
You're still in Abilene, right?
Still in Abilene, yeah.
Yeah. I am totally looking forward to you spending some time in Austin, though. We are going to show you around all the good spots.
So,
excellent. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Those of you guys that don't know this guy is a mountain bike geek.
That's right. Check him out on Instagram. He's got a huge following on Instagram, and for very good reason. He's always posting good stuff on there. And yeah, when did you start your YouTube channel?
I really started working on it probably December last year. I think I'm just shy of 1,200 subs now.
Nice. So like December 2017.
Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty good. That's good growth right there, man. That's great.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
As I'm hiccuping from this delicious beer that I'm drinking.
Nice.
Oh, we got a super chat, $9.99 from Flameproof. I like watching all you guys because your content feels real and normal. Well, that's good. Stuff I do myself. Keep up the good work. And you know what? I think that's been like the biggest driver of the growth of, of these YouTube channels. Oh, let's refocus. There we go.
There we go.
Is just like people, just like there's so many really incredibly high quality videos of dudes doing like massive jumps and going mock chicken down the trail. And I feel like, yeah, there was like a big group of people, including myself, that like would love to see some normal dudes riding some bikes and like testing gear for normal guys. And like, yeah, I don't know. I think it struck a good chord with people.
I think that's pretty much where like myself, Robert, and Joseph, we all fall well within that category of regular guys. Yeah. I mean, I probably have a far better advantage than them with the fact that I have an awesome accent. People love that.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, so damn eloquent with that accent.
Panda throwing around those Canadian pesos.
Oh, biking with Panda. Thanks, man. Wow, that's awesome, dude. Thank you so much. Says I hope this helps with your upcoming guided trip. That definitely will. Like that's supper for the wife and the kids right there, keeping everybody happy. Thank you so much. Cheers, nice. Dude. That's awesome.
Okay.
I have to one day I need to get out to Ontario and check stuff out, and we'll head up to Quebec too.
So I got a question for you guys and the chat, because this is going to be a very real problem as a normal mountain biker. I'm actually moving to Colorado from Texas, where Texas we have like 20 or 30 feet of elevation. And Colorado has all the elevation, and my lungs are going to be on fire.
Yes.
As a side note, I lived there for 12 years before that, but I didn't mountain bike. Long story. Anyways, exposure. I am petrified, absolutely petrified of exposure and heights. And Eric and I went on a ride where there was about 30 feet. Well, there was like a 30-foot drop to the right side of us on some loose off-camber stuff. And I mean, I kind of looked cool and calm, but I couldn't hear what Eric was saying over the sound of my brain screaming as I went over that. So my question to you guys is, do you ever have that problem with exposure, and how do you get past it?
The funny thing is that the video that I was editing before I got on this was my Sedona video. And if you've ever seen a 270-pound guy cry on the side of a trail, that was it. So it'll be chopping in the next couple of days.
Yeah, man. Like Sedona is super legit as far as just what it does to your freaking body, man. Like it's wild. Like they say, I don't remember the numbers, but they generally say for every 1 mile of trail anywhere else, if you ride 1 mile in Sedona, it's like 5 miles. It's just crazy. I remember looking at the loops for Sedona, and they're not very long. They're like 8 miles or whatever. I'm like, well, this won't be that big of a deal. And I was dying by the end of it. Like it's harsh up there. It's so much fun, but man, it kills you.
It's no joke.
Well, all I can say is to Joseph there, 30 foot, is that all? Like some of the spots in Toowoomba where, because like Toowoomba, where I live, it's on top of a mountain range in the base of an old volcano. So the trails are right on the side of the mountain.
Wow.
When you go riding, there are cliffs with a good 1,500-foot drop.
And so, I bet they have pits of rattlesnakes and black widows at the bottom.
Of course. Yeah.
Except they're the Australian version where it's not rattlesnakes. You got even deadlier king browns, taipans, tiger snakes, red belly blacks, and black widows. No, you've got there's the Darling
angry
Downs
badgers on fire leaping at you. Drop bears.
We don't have badgers. We do have goannas though, and if you startle them and they think you're a tree, they've got claws about that long, and they will dig in you and go straight up you.
And they have dingoes that steal babies there.
I'm never coming to Australia, John. Never.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, John. Australia, it sounds like I don't know. You're going to have to show me some real awesome trails to get me to Australia, because it just sounds deadly over there.
Go back and watch my earlier stuff. There's really good trails. But no, if you saw on my my Instagram, I put the video of me running into the rattlesnake up today.
I saw that.
As I quote, snake peek of next week's video. Did you see what my reaction to running into a rattlesnake was?
Yeah, I didn't even realize what was happening, because I just saw you suddenly hit your brakes. I'm like, oh, he must have like stalled out on a rock or something like that. And you're like, oh, hello, little snake.
There's a rattlesnake.
Yeah, that's what my reaction was. It's like, oh, it's a snake.
One time I almost...
Lazy sod, he didn't even bother to rattle at me.
I know, right? Didn't even put on a show. I almost ran over a coral snake one time in Colorado, and I about freaked out because I'm rolling up on it. And I was in Boy Scouts, so like I knew that whole red touches yellow, you're a dead fellow thing. So I'm rolling up, I was like, oh, that's a snake. It's a very colorful snake. It's got red, yellow, and black, and oh my God. And like I lift my legs up onto the crown of my fork and just kind of like steered, half panicking, and like the snake's trying to go this way and I'm trying to go straight. And thankfully nothing happened. But I was seriously sketched out every time I saw a stick on the ground. I was convinced it was a snake and I was going to die.
I'm pretty sure that happens every time you see a snake. For the rest of the ride, every stick or root is now an anaconda.
Well, what can I say? Mate, I'm just used to seeing those kind of things, I suppose.
There's a joke in that.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. Like I have big spiders down in my basement of my house, and they're big for around here, but they're like that big, like with their
those are babies. Those are babies.
Try like that.
Oh,
that's bigger. Actually, we've got ones that will grow to like that.
Well, those are the huntsman's, aren't they?
Yeah, I've seen
whistling spiders.
It seems like where I live, it's just like so dang pleasant as far as things that aren't trying to kill you. Like if you go to the mountains, you've got bears and stuff, but they're big enough. Like you see them coming, right? For the most part. But then like I was looking at an Instagram post the other day from Rachel Atherton, and she posted a picture. I don't remember where they were, but they posted a picture of her brother, G, and they found a scorpion in his biking shoe. He was just about to put his foot in, but there was just
always
a scorpion.
shake out your shoes, especially
right
here.
In your shoe.
Oh, yeah.
And you never told me that when I was there. I never shook out my shoes.
Yeah, I probably should have told you that one. Yeah, we actually did have legitimate like big bugs, especially during the winter because they all come inside to get away from the cold.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I found in my house. I found a trapdoor spider once. That was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
That's nothing.
I should keep track of this the comment section. So I don't know how to say it. Maybe it's H Crichton. They say, "How do I donate?" Well, what a wonderful question, H Crichton. You can do a super chat right through here. It depends on what platform you're on. I don't know. Can you do it from iPhones yet?
You can.
Yes.
Oh, you can now.
Yes,
okay.
you can.
Yeah. So there's like a super chat thing, or there's Patreon, so you can sign up on Patreon on my channel, and I think all three of you guys have Patreon accounts?
I don't.
John, you don't?
I'm considering setting one up, but I'll probably wait for my YouTube to grow a bit more.
Yeah. So basically, Patreon. If you go into the description of this video, it should be there, I would think. But for me or most of the other YouTubers that you've seen here, you can go into Patreon, subscribe to us or them or whoever monthly for like $3 a month or whatever kind of tier it is. And you just get access to like tons more video and exclusive content, like those Santa Cruz videos. They're still on Patreon, and I'm not taking them off of there.
That is true.
Different things like that. So yeah, that's different ways that you can like help the channel. Anyways, appreciate that, man.
So going back to what we were talking about a minute ago, what was the scariest thing that you've done on your channel? Whether it's something that you rode or something that you ran into, or a psychopathic fan. What has been the scariest thing of your channel in the last year?
I would say there were two things. One, I was more scared after the fact. I did this video in a little mountain town called Jasper, Alberta, and I was riding completely alone, and I was off in the woods, and then I saw this female elk, and I rode past it really slowly, and I was like, please don't hurt me. I'm like, oh, it's just like a little elk. It's not a big deal, but please don't hurt me. You know, like I'm a vegetarian, like don't hurt me. I'm a good guy. And then I kept going, and then that was that. And then I ran into a dude later, and I was like, I was worried about bears and stuff because it was, I don't remember what month it was. It was like June or something. I can't remember. And he was like, oh, I don't care about bears. Bears are nothing. If you see a female elk, you run. You get out of there as fast as you possibly can because they're the most dangerous things in the park right now. They will kill you. And I was riding right past one. So I was a little nervous after that. So that sprung to mind. The high-speed jumps in Whistler are freaking terrifying if you're not super comfortable with them. So like runs like A-Line, man, I need to be having such a good day and everything needs to be working good and I need to build myself up to it. And then I go and hit A-Line and you're going so insanely fast down that trail. And when you hit the lips, they're like vertical and it just launches you. And so at that kind of breakneck speed, everything in my body, and I know other people have said this too, everything about you is saying, hit the brakes, like just hit the brakes. You shouldn't be launching yourself into space like this. And you have, like, it's such a crazy mind thing if you're not one of those A-line bros that just does it day after day, all day long. Oh man, those
Jordan.
So scary. Yeah, exactly, Jordan. Yeah,
Jordan.
It's
I was recently joking with Daily MTV Rider that everybody up in your area knows how just to send it. How did you get to the point of hitting those big jumps like that?
It takes, like I said, it has to be a good day. Like I'll go and hit some of the small to medium large jump lines, but when it gets to those bigger ones, you need so much speed, and it's the speed that's the crazy part. Like that's the scary thing, hitting them at speed. But one big breakthrough for me was I was at Silver Star Bike Park, which is kind of interior BC, and they have a really great progression of jumps. It starts from small and it just builds throughout their, like, a couple of trails that they have. It just builds beautifully. And so you get more and more comfortable, and it just slowly takes you from one to the next. And you're like, Kate, that was good. Now we'll try this one. That was good. And so jumping, it's a very hard thing to teach because you really just have to do it. Like there's nothing else. Like you can learn, I feel like you can learn really good tips about cornering by somebody telling you about them. But I feel like when it comes to jumps, you can't really learn from somebody telling you how to jump. You have to just do it and
I feel like
figure it out.
I feel like maybe like getting towed in initially so you can.
Yes.
I was going to say that is a huge help.
Yeah,
because for me, that's the thing where it's like for me, if I like, let's just say go to a bike park, I don't know the right speed, so I'm going to do it like 35 times until I actually like realize, oh, okay, that's how fast I have to go. And I feel like if I was on like a jump line kind of trail and just following somebody, maybe then I would just be able to like get it. And once you do that and you're like, oh, okay, I can do that, then you kind of move on.
Yeah. Eric and I got towed in by someone who knew a trail really well. And I mean, we got turned into it, and like there was the jump, and we just like a perfect train, just because like we were all just right on top of each other. So the speed was perfect and the angle was perfect. So yeah, towing helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was saying before, I feel like my screen's like freezing every now and again, but what I was saying before was what I thought I had to do. So I was trying to think logically about a jump, going off of a jump and then landing on the other side of it. So you go up the jump and you wind up like this. And in my head, I'm like, I have to do something to make my bike land like this. And so I thought that I had to put my weight forward so that my bike would do the arc, right?
Oh, no.
So I would always nose, like just like ride the nose of my bike on the landing, or just totally wipe out, which is like one of the scariest things, to land nose heavy off a jump when you weren't trying to. It is awful. So until that one time where I was like, clearly I'm not doing this right. And I kept my weight neutral and I just let the bike just go, and it just did it for me. And I just stayed neutral and I pressed into the beginning part of the jump, and the bike just went zhoop. And
that's the thing that always trips me up.
That's how it works.
I have that bad habit of preloading the shock or the fork, which is really bad. You like, everything has ever taught me to preload from the legs. You know, that's your suspension. So preload there, because as you said, it's nice and neutral. And it compresses everything, including your body, which is a big part of the suspension. And you need to think of it that way. When I do that, perfect. When I preload the fork, a little bit of something comes out when I hit that landing.
Yeah, not quite
touching cloth.
Yeah,
what's that?
Touching cloth. That's pretty much what the excrement is doing.
Pretty much.
That's hilarious.
I think Seth said it best. You know, we're a product of the trails we ride. So, you know, high speed, losing elevation, not my bag. When I'm not terribly out of shape, like I was when Ryan showed up and I'm on the tail end of a flu, going through the Austin chunk, you know, I can track stand. I learned to track stand because of the trails that I rode, because there were so many speed gates and there were so many rock features that, like, you know, you come up on, you're like, okay, what do I do now? And you know, you don't want to dab, so you'd have to try to stand up and get through it. So it is interesting watching the Bellingham people just, oh yeah, 6 foot gap, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all about what's around you, right? Like what is your normal? And I find the guys that come out of BC, their normal is just so high, or Bellingham or whatever, right? Any of those places that have elevation and good dirt. It's got to be a really good combination of.
Wait for it.
With like here,
there he is.
Oh, he's gone again.
Oh, now he's completely frozen.
To be able to.
Oops.
Hi, everybody. Am I back?
There you go. You're back now.
Okay. I was saying
elevation and good dirt. That's the last we heard.
What was that?
Elevation and good dirt. That was the last we heard.
Yeah, and then the other part of it is that, like, good forest. So, like I was saying, around Edmonton and a lot of other places, there's trees, but then there's also tons of brush at the same time. And so to build a trail, it takes forever. And so trail building is a slow process, where in BC, it's a lot more spread out. Like there's just tree and then dirt, and then over there is another tree somewhere. So the progression that happened, and there's just so much good stuff going on there that, yeah, the level that the guys come out at, the baseline level, is just insane. It's pretty incredible for sure.
I'm watching the chat catch up with what we experienced with the lag. And Outdoor Gold said, I know the stream is good because John's fan is moving in the background. You're the canary in the mine, John.
Yep.
Exactly.
Everything's okay.
That's what I'm good for.
Yeah. Oh, Jason, or Jasian, is on the chat. He says, oh, hello. He's Asian, and he sure loves to make lots of Asian jokes. And he's been on a bunch of my videos before. And yeah, we even did a bike check for him. He had a Pivot Mach 6 bike check that I did with him a few months back. So he's always fun to go on a road trip with.
What were your top 3 places that you went last year?
Last year?
Just fun, you know, like not necessarily like just where you had a blast.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, for me, just to maybe help spark you, like I wasn't expecting to be so surprised by South Mountain. And when I went there, like I like there was all these people that kind of, I don't know what it is like about people in that area. Like they, like a lot of them talk shit about South Mountain. Like it's not good. And whenever I went, I was like, this is fucking amazing. Like, how could you talk shit about this?
Yeah, no, it's true. I thought South Mountain was insane. Like there was so much interesting stuff to ride there. Like you could, like I rode there 2 days, like 2.5 days worth of riding. And I only rode like maybe 10% of the trail network on that mountain. So yeah, that was a good time for sure. What was I going to say? Oh, I had one. Now I can't. Oh, when I actually was.
The guy you were with.
What's that?
Isobex on. I just saw him pop up in the chat.
Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah, that's awesome. And so that was a really awesome trip for sure. But one of the ones that is like fresh in my mind because of the whole like trail debacle, that day when I was riding with Alex and we were doing all those laps at, you know, unknown, unsaid place. It was so good. And I think part of what made it good is that my legs held up better than I thought they would. I thought I would get one lap out of it and I would be like crying, but I managed to keep going, which was awesome. So that I was feeling good about that. The riding was incredible. It was just like steep and fantastic. And then we went and did shuttling after that. So it was like 4 laps, 4 heavy pedaled laps for me. And then shuttle runs after that, after a good burrito. So that was a really, really good day for sure. Yeah, there could be good days for different reasons, like filming in Texas. That was a really good day. Even though we didn't spend much time on the bike, it was more just like walking up a hill again with a bike to just roll down it for like 10 seconds. But
all for one shot.
Yeah, all for one shot. But it was a good shot though. That was awesome.
It was, especially the cable cam shot. Once we finally got the timing right, and that drone shot that I almost chopped your head off for.
Yeah, that was my fault though. So Joseph was like trying to be nice and like cautious about his drone but to my face. And he was a little ways away, and I kept telling him like, "Hey, come closer, come closer, come closer," because I wanted it to be like right here. And then, so I'm going to be riding up at full tilt as fast as I could possibly go. And then I told him to like, can you just keep it at eye level as long as you can, and then punch it backwards. So then I'm riding, and then like it's almost cable cam that close. And you did it, which was great. But like, I understand, like if it was in my life was in your hands, like if you didn't do that right, it would have cut my head off.
Yeah, a lot of people don't give drones the respect they deserve. That, you know, I don't ever do the hand landing. Like, I respect my fingers way too much to do that, and I've seen what those blades can do when your fingers get in the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it looked sick.
Hey, is Paul the punter still out there? I was talking to him just before this. We were talking about some things, and he said he was going to pop on and he had some questions for me, but I don't see him in the chat anymore.
I don't either.
No, I haven't seen him for a bit, no.
We'll see if he's still in there or not.
Paul, don't get me wrong. I was lurking for a while before I jumped in.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's good to have you guys here. It's awesome. Like, I think the best part of the entire last year, and I mean this in 100% sincerity, has been the community and being able to hang out with you guys and ride with you. It's been really good. And honestly, that group that we have with our little tight-knit group of filmmakers, it's been such an awesome thing to be able to, one, like we're doing the off-camera live, and we're getting just a chance to just hang out and chill and talk about fun stuff with each other and share all kinds of information, like on the filming side of things. It's been such an amazing thing this last year to get to know all of you guys. Cause like without that, we all kind of live in our own little bubbles, right? And then all of a sudden it just opened, like wide open, and collaborations have happened, and you know, sharing all kinds of like tips and tricks. Like it's been really cool. So I really appreciate you guys and the kind of community that we have, for sure.
I 100% agree. You know, I think that's the beauty of mountain bikes, is the community, even on your local trail. And I think it shows just the same here on YouTube, that we are a community. We're not a bunch of like, you know, solo artists.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
That's like exactly it.
And I can guarantee you all of the channels. So how many channels are in our little like chat group? Do you know?
I think there's like over 30, a little over 30.
Yeah.
37, I think.
Wow, really that many? Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're someone who watches mountain bike YouTubing or mountain bike YouTubers on YouTube, I can guarantee you that without like this group of people collaborating and sharing ideas and cool things and links and products, none of the content that you see would be anywhere near as good without the help, everybody helping each other, including mine for sure, and the collaborations that are happening. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see what happens behind the scenes and then what comes out of it. Eric says 39 different creators in that group. Wow.
Oh, 39. There you go.
Paul the punter is getting his makeup on for the studio lights, and he's going to be on with questions in hand, and he will be vicious, unyielding in finding the truth.
Well, I'll have to try it. I have to try it my Scottish accent for him, just to make sure that it passes muster.
Oh, that's pretty good.
The thing that's funny about that group of 39 is every day I get on YouTube and I find some other channel that I never even heard of. And some of these guys are like 50, 70, 100,000 subscribers. It's like, how is it that we have this huge group and we don't even like, there's so many other people out there doing it.
Yeah, and doing so many different things within the mountain biking community. Like, what's that guy's name? I can't remember his name, but all he does is reviews and videos about like really cheap, like Walmart bikes and like Target bikes and stuff. Like, what's his name?
I don't remember, but hang on, I will find it, because quite honestly, he fills a much needed space in YouTube. Like, you know, we kind of, I almost feel bad for a lot of, you know, people and kids that really can't afford. We have the luxury of, you know, having too many bikes, and people are trying to find their first bike. He fills.
His channel's Paul the punter. He did like Squamish.
No, but seriously, he is doing awesome work because he's, you know, we kind of look at it as a joke. You know, we ride, you know, Walmart bikes down, whatever, Pishka, whatever. He legitimately looks at it from like a realistic standpoint of like, okay, you're going to take these on footpaths, but like, how much fun can you have for the most money? And I actually tip my hat to the guy for doing that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, totally.
Definitely.
It's so cool how many different sides there are out there. And, you know, like there's that side of it. There are channels that I see with like 50 subscribers that have incredible content, like really great stuff. Oh, I can't remember their channel. This is awful. I subscribe to them too. I should go and look. But stuff down in like Moab, Colorado kind of stuff.
Oh, it must be that guy, I think.
Oh, Paul. Yeah, that's exactly who I was talking about. Yeah. How's it going, man?
What a perfect segue. Punters, hello. How's it going?
Oh, quite well.
We've got Paul the punter back in the chat now.
What's happened? So you're Australian. What's going on?
But the thing is, I'm Australian, but I can do a wide variety of accents.
Is this what you guys are talking about? Accents? What happened to Matt?
Yeah,
it's just and accents. That's it.
All right. Okay, I got you.
Ryan, I do have one question that I'm going to hop off because I think I'm the fifth wheel at this point. I got one question.
Fifth wheel.
Do you ever get tired of the reaction you get of letting people ride the Evo Link for the first time?
When I let people ride that giant pole,
exactly. The big blue pole.
We love riding the pole.
Well, see, the thing is that like with the whole like Evo Link thing, I was incredibly stoked on that bike. And I'm such a fanboy of things like that like are pushing the mold and stuff. And I feel like because I'm so excited about it, it feels like I'm trying to like sell it for pole or whatever. And so I'm really like self-conscious of that. And so anytime somebody else gets on the bike, I want to see what they have to say because like I'm all stoked on it or whatever, but I want to like get them on video. It's like, what do you think? Anybody? I want anybody else's opinion because nobody else has one of those bikes around me. I have no idea if what I think of the bike is just me or else it's like in general, right? So I'm always curious to see what other people think of that bike, and I always welcome anybody that wants to ride it.
Fantastic. All right, I'm gonna tap out. Paul,
all right,
you
man.
are on spot. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for having me on, and congratulations on your Ryan.
Thanks, man.
See you, Joe.
I think I'm gonna follow Joseph and give Paul the stage with his. I'm pretty sure that is a Walmart bike in the picture behind him there too.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Casual placement. Yeah. No, that's actually me in the Megavalanche in 2012. Shortly after.
It's funny. Paul's got one. I've actually got one too. Well, I've got two of them.
Oh,
look. There's me, and that's Toowoomba.
That's awesome, man.
Nice.
So, Megavalanche 2012. Where was that? Is that in Peru?
Oh my God! Is that a cheeky plug for your trip that's coming up in Peru?
No, the Megavalanche used to be in Peru.
No,
it did. No. Yeah.
It's there might have been one, but it's always been like Le Megavalanche. It's French. It's in Alpe d'Huez. So they have the famous road climb that's been in the Tour de France a bunch of times, and that's at the bottom. And then from the top of the peak, like there's loads of videos. Like I would go and watch them if you're not unfamiliar with it. But you just like start in the snow and you ride all the way down. I think you descend like 3,400 meters in about an hour. I don't know what that is in feet. I'm sorry, America.
That's crazy, man.
So sorry. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But that's that was from the.
That's really cool.
Well, the best way to work out the feet thing is there's 3.1 feet to every meter.
Oh right, okay. So what have we got? Is be like 11,000 feet, something like that.
Well, you guys are mathematicians. I'm gonna show you how I can do a 12-ounce curl and just dip right the hell out. Congratulations. Honestly, man, I'm super stoked for you and your channel. It's been awesome to watch it, and I can't wait to see where you are next year, bud.
All right, cool, man. Thank you very much for joining in. I'll talk to you soon.
For sure. Take care.
Cheers for dropping in, Bob.
Hi, Robert. How dialed is the setup looking? You see all the signs hanging at the back? That's sick.
So as far as like the Megavalanche thing goes, so it's always been in France, right? I think they must have like branched out for a couple of years then, because I remember like Aaron Chase went out and a bunch of other like pros. I think Richie was there, and they did one or a couple in Peru, and I thought they had moved it and then moved it back, but maybe they just added one for a couple of years.
I think a few other places have just like called like their mass start race like the Mega, I guess. But they did branch out there. You're quite right. They had one. They've had two. They have one in the Reunion Islands, which I think is like Gran Canaria way, maybe. And then there was another one in Scandinavia, somewhere in Scandinavia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that I'm doing on the last day of the trip in Peru is they're going to shuttle me up to the top of the Megavalanche course and just have at her. So I have no idea what that's supposed to be like.
But it'll just be long, fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure nothing that the pole can't handle.
So I hear you have some questions there, Paul. You were mentioning earlier. So now I'm just curious what these questions might be.
Oh yeah, I guess I can. Wait, where do I start? What kind of questions have you had already? I don't want to repeat.
Like most fun ride kind of thing, or what do I regret? Is there anything that I'd change? That kind of thing.
Oh wow, it's pretty heavy stuff then. Okay, maybe I should be a bit lighter. At what point did you realize? Obviously, you have now. It's like 2 million. Is it 2 million? Has it gone over 2 million views now? That lap down there.
Oh, the
Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, at what point did that start ramping up and sending off? Because like that's what I'm interested in now.
Yeah, that video I put out in early August, I think, because I wrote it like end of July, and then I put it out early August, and it started picking up like crazy, like end of August, early September. And I don't know why.
That's
like
crazy.
The YouTube algorithm just decided to just take this video and put it out to non-mountain bikers. And that was the thing. So if you go and look on that video, 90% of all the comments are people like, how did you corner your mountain bike like that? Like how I would have so many comments are the exact same thing. It's like, I would have flown off into the bush on the first corner. That is so many of the comments. Like they all say the same thing. So it's clearly going out to non-mountain bikers as one of those like extreme sports videos. And like, it's hilarious because I wasn't planning that at all. It's literally just me going, all right, we're going to ride Blue Velvet today. And I just ride and I'm like, oh, look, bear poop. And I'm like, I'm doing nothing. I'm just riding down the trail. And yet it like, yeah, blew up and it keeps going. Like that video is over 1/3 of my view count every month still.
Wow.
Like it still makes up for a chunk.
I find that so like mind-blowing that you have so many views just on one video. Like
yeah.
I haven't yet met my 4,000 hours quota to get the monetization back. But last week's video had like nearly 70,000 minutes watched. And for me, that was mind-blowing. And it's only had, what, 6,000, 7,000 views? 2 million views. I can't even think of what that would be.
Yeah, it's a lot of minutes. For sure.
That's a lot of minutes.
Yeah. So, and then it was funny because, yeah, like I was in Whistler again when it was really blowing up in September. And on some days, I would get like almost 900 more subscribers in a day because it was being pushed that hard by YouTube at that time, which is pretty crazy. So now, and that was like kind of a tricky thing because I was getting these subscribers, but what kind of subscribers are they? Are they just clicking because they saw this one crazy video and then we'll see what happens from there? I was expecting a big drop off in subscribers, but what I found and what's been really encouraging is that it's a ton of people who weren't necessarily into mountain biking, or maybe they were into mountain biking and they saw that. And now I get tons of messages all the time and comments from people saying, I've gotten back into mountain biking because I saw that one video and now I've followed your channel and seen how awesome mountain biking is. And especially for a dude that's like not a pro like me, to see like a relatively normal dude out there riding and having fun, they're like, oh crap, I'm going to do this. And so there's all these people that came out of that video that are now mountain bikers, which is pretty sweet. So
which is awesome, because I mean, we just want to expand not just the audience, but the riding community. That's what we're all about.
Exactly.
Comment from Outdoor Gold. Apparently, I'm not just a mountain bike geek, I'm a mountain bike boss. Thank you very much. I would just like to say that. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I do have a question for you.
Sure.
So you've got Peru lined up for a ride this year. What would be after Peru, what would be your top 3 riding locations?
Oh, crap. Top 3 riding locations. I would want to ride in Tasmania.
Yes.
I really want to check those zones out. It looks really cool. There's a brand new bike park that just opened in January. I actually, I begged the Tasmanian Tourism Board to send me over there, and they were like, "Yeah." So that was a giant no. And so
the thing is, they haven't quite realized exactly what social media is yet.
Right.
I really need to start putting the boot in on places like that, because they're all like, oh, we don't need anything like that. Blue Derby had the EWS. It's fine.
And that's what they said to me. They're like, well, we had the EWS, so we're pretty happy with the coverage that we have now. But I'm like, it's one thing to have like 30-second clips of dudes like flying ultra fast down double blacks. It's another thing to have a guy show up and like live there for like a week and go and explore places and eat there and sleep there and like do everything that connects the dots. Because like, who the hell knows anything about Tasmania other than you, John? But who knows anything about Tasmania? I know nothing about Tasmania. What happens?
Even I don't know that much about it. Where I live is approximately 2,500 miles north of Tasmania, and there's even sea that separates Tasmania from the mainland. So I don't even know that much about it. But there is the Blue Derby, which Brian has ridden, and the EWS was there. And now Medina Bike Park has opened up, which is practically like Whistler in Australia, is the best way I can describe it.
So you've ridden it before?
No, I am super keen to, though.
Yeah.
It does look really good. I know, I actually know a couple of people that run the big group for it. And they used to work at Whistler. So the only thing I know about Tasmania is that they just produce very, very good mountain bikers. I actually know like four or five from my kind of times around, and they're all amazing. One of them, this guy called George Newham, he was like one of the other people to start winning the Fat Wednesday races at Whistler.
Wow.
He started to beat.
That's something.
Like that. Chris Kovarek, who is a Whistler local and has won. He has the biggest winning margin of a World Cup downhill track at 14 seconds in 4 minutes, 2002.
Yeah.
He used to win loads of them. And then also, and then there's Remy Metayer, who's obviously, pretty well known for riding the Whistler Bike Park. And then George last year just started winning a couple and started beating them. And there was actually one day when only George turned up to the podium because he'd beaten Remy and Chris, and neither of them turned up to the podium. He's awesome. He's from Tassie, and like they're such amazing dudes. So an amazing.
Well, Chris Kovarek, when he's not living in Whistler, he actually lives an hour and a half west of where I live, and I've been to enduro races with him and things like that. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, he's a sound dude. Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Jared Graves, he lives in the same town that I do. We ride the same trails, so it's quite novel when you're just out for your weekend ride and you run into Jared, and if it's summertime you run into Richie and Curtis and Cody, and just because like they all rock up for summer training with Jared, so it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, when you bump into them on the local trails. Yeah, Jared is a super nice guy. We Pink Bike, we shot a bike check video with him. I'm not kidding. It was like an hour and a half of him talking about his bike. And he just understands so much about his bike. Like 10 minutes on his chain guide. I'm not even kidding. Like, just so much information.
He's super in depth, and he has a resting serious face, which belies the fact that he is one of the funniest pranksters you could ever meet.
Yeah.
He's always looking to pull a practical joke on someone, anyone.
Amazing. Nice. So what? More questions for Ryan. Let's do some more questions.
Yeah. Sure. We need more questions in the chat as well.
Yeah. What is there? I don't know. I haven't got it on. I haven't got it open. Here we go.
Yeah. I do. If anybody's got questions, send them at us. Middle-aged Masher says, Ryan, you gave me advice on my channel as well. You guys maybe get back into the mountain bike scene after 15 years off. That's awesome. Yeah, that was like me. I had a good like 8 years off from mountain biking before I got back into it again, and I was starting almost from scratch.
Nice. Cool. I might actually just bounce. My laptop very much battery. That's the honest answer.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for jumping in.
It's a real success story, like getting kind of the reach and the audience you're getting now. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Right. Peace out. Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Say, Paul.
Yeah, that's great. So I mean, I answered one location that I definitely wanted to.
Sorry, I interrupted you on that one there.
Oh no, that's fine. That was great. Hold on, I got to refocus. Boop. There we go. Another place that I would really love to ride is Colorado. I was really looking forward to going there, and I definitely need to get there by the end of the year because there just seems like so much good riding. And then Moab, like Moab's only an hour and a half away from Grand Junction or something like that. It's pretty close. So that whole area would be pretty amazing. And then funny enough, I would really love to go and ride Marrakesh. Marrakesh looks pretty cool for riding zones. And I'd love to get down there to check it out because it just looks the landscape looks so alien to what I'm used to. I really want to try something like that. Like even going to Arizona, that is such a crazy landscape that's so different than what I'm used to. And so that was a pretty cool experience. I'd love to check out more places that have such different terrain and different dirt and different everything than what I have right now.
Yeah.
There are my answers.
Yeah. Arizona, Colorado, even places like over east, like Florida, for example. It's flat like Texas, but the dirt is completely different from what I hear. It's like a mixture of dirt and sand.
Yeah, so they can mold it really well. And you know what was really interesting is that when I was in the Sunshine Coast in BC, so it's technically mainland, but you have to take a ferry to get there because it's like a big giant inlet in between. Anyways, once I got there and like Coast Gravity Park and talking to some of the guys, some of the locals, they were saying that the dirt in that area is so insane and so good, and they could shape all that at Coast Gravity because that little inlet right there, most of the world's dirt that goes to places like BMX parks and those sorts of places where they need perfect draining, perfect shapeable dirt and sand, that's where they get it all from. Like that's the world's source for the best bike building dirt ever. And that's just what all of Coast Gravity is built on. So like it's just wild being there, like the kind of things that they can create, and it's always perfect and always smooth. It was just crazy.
That is crazy.
Bike crazy. Says, you said you like the pole because of it being new tech. What do you think of the floating brake system on Eminent bikes? Oh, Eminent bikes, John. I don't know if you could talk about that or not, but maybe not. I'll just keep it quiet.
No, I can actually talk about that. Not in great length, but mainly because I haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah,
but
I actually don't know about the tech on the floating brake. I remember, I think I saw a press release when it was first released, and I thought it was cool, but I didn't look since, so I can't speak to it.
The floating brake is one of the reasons why it caught my eye to begin with. I mean, the Haste has a floating shock, which not only has the usual shock compression component to it, but it also has a lateral movement as well. Oh. So if you hit a rock and on your back wheel and your front wheel's pointed in a different direction, normally your shock will like stick a bit. Like it's at two different angles. With a bit of lateral movement, it's still straight and it'll still compress.
Huh. Interesting. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, it's got 5 mil either direction that it can actually move laterally. The floating brake on the rear, if you go to grab the rear brake, I don't know if you left or right.
Left. Or sorry, right.
Right. Well, my rear brake's on the left. So I grab my brake. The rear wheel locks up and actually compresses the shock a bit. On the Haste, with a floating brake, you compress the brake, the rear wheel stops moving, and the brake actually moves in line with the wheel, so the shock doesn't move. So there's none of the compression is used up, just in case you actually need to use it on a drop or anything like that. Nothing's out of whack at that time. Yeah, it's really, really interesting to look at, and I honestly cannot wait to try it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. There's so much really interesting technology coming out right now. Like I feel like mid to late 90s, there were all these crazy designs, and many of them didn't work whatsoever. But a bunch of them were kind of the start of what we see that did work well on our bikes now. So it'd be really cool to, I mean, it just feels like we're in a really interesting time, especially with like rapid prototyping and being able to just try stuff that would normally be impossible to just try for a low cost. So I feel like there are so many like smaller design houses. Like I can't remember the bike company. I think they're out of Quebec actually, but the downhill bike where the rear shock is integrated into the actual top tube of the bike itself.
Yeah.
And like there's all these like crazy stuff that they're putting together. And that was like actual like a Fox 40 fork initially. Yeah. All cut up and made into a rear shock. Like there's just so many cool...
it was a cut down 40 stanchion that was actually mounted into the top tube. I remember looking at that. It started out with, I was a guy from Norway who moved to Canada because it was actually cheaper to do the design process there. And he built it basically as a one-off for himself, but there was so much interest for it on Pink Bike that he's gone on and started to develop. And I believe he's going to be ready to release soon.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, it was a really interesting article to read.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to playing around with that Haste because two reasons. Because of the floating shock, the recommended sag is at 20% rather than 30%.
Huh.
And the floating rear brake means you can actually brake a lot later. We're talking 2.5 to 3 meters later than you normally would into corners.
Wow, because you still have so much traction, you're not losing that or any of the compression, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So you can really throw it in and rail corners. So there's guys who've only just started riding them and taking them to trails, and like they haven't changed their training regime or anything, and they've gone from like placing 10th to 15th. One guy I know, he's actually moved all the way up to start to claim second and third place just from the bike change.
Wow, that's really cool. And like you hear the same kind of thing like from Pole with as far as like their crazy geometry or whatever, like the really long bikes and the slack head angles on trail riding situations, and it just works like with the 29er, and they're starting to figure out all these really interesting things. So it'll be really cool to see in the future how that works and like how little pieces can fit together. So what if you were to take the technology from the Imminent bike and then mix it in with more like the crazy progressive geometry of the Pole bikes? Like bikes are just going to keep getting faster and faster and faster, which is pretty cool. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure the floating shock and the floating brake technology was actually, it's based on technology that was first invented about 20 years ago, but it wasn't very useful back then because they didn't have the engineering components back then that we do now.
Right.
Now, however, it's feasible because it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper to make, and we can make it stiffer with like carbon, for example. The carbon process now is light years ahead of what it used to be. So.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. No, that's really cool. Well, yeah, I'm stoked to see what comes up this year, and I know Paul was talking about possibly sending a machine frame for me to test out in like late July, which sounds pretty cool. And I guess like you don't really use much compression, or you don't use almost any dampening on your shock.
Yeah.
So the way they designed it, it's just you just leave it all open, and it's just the way it should be. So I'm really curious to try that kind of stuff out.
Have you seen the video from Ali Clarkson at Sea Otter? He gets a very up close look at the machine from pole in his video. So definitely check that out. It is worth watching just for the pole component.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I didn't see that. Nice.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Ali Clarkson's Sea Otter one. I went nuts with Sea Otter videos. Everyone who was releasing video, I went and watched everything. It was like from DC Rainmaker to Seth and Ali Clarkson and GMBN. I just went full geek mode on it and loaded up a massive list.
I need to get there next year. The flights are cheap from here to there. There is no reason why I should not be a Sea Otter next year. I'm going to plan on, Sea Otter Night 2019. Everybody's there. It just looks like way too much fun to miss.
Yeah. And not to mention just how much networking you can do while you're there. Because like literally everyone is there.
Yeah, well, I was trying to email some marketing managers at the time about some projects coming up, and but they're all at Sea Otter. They're not answering their emails. They're all busy there, right? So why don't I just go meet them in person instead?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Thanks for hanging out, man. That's been great. Good talk.
That's all right. I always enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody. What's the official name of the channel? It's MTB Geek, right?
No, MTN_bike_geek.
Okay. And that is why I asked. I'm like, I know I'm going to say this wrong, so I better ask him. But yeah, go and follow John. Putting out good content, and on Instagram as well. He is killing it on Instagram.
Yeah, mind you, I started my Instagram back in like 2015. My YouTube channel started quite a fair bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. But now you're doing a great job, man. So thanks for hopping in, and I'll talk to you on those secret YouTube mountain biker forums.
Secret with the secret handshake and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Have fun in Texas, man.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Have a good one, and congrats.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Peace, guys.
All right. Well, this has been good. I'm so happy with just like how the whole thing has gone. Like this whole last year has been fantastic. You know, my main goal for focus. There we go. My main goal for when I started the channel, which was like May of last year, to now, my goal is 5,000 subscribers. I was like, I want to create content that would bring in 5,000 subscribers into the fold. And I thought that would be a good indicator of I'm doing something right. And so to see that almost at 50,000 subscribers now, all you subscribers, I really appreciate everything that you do for the channel. When you guys watch a video, like a video, comment on a video, that really does do real things for this channel. It means a lot when you check out my content. And I have never been more committed, I don't think, to anything as creatively in my life than this channel. I pretty much put everything I have into it. And so it's really cool to see you guys responding to that and commenting and, sharing your stories and everything. And I'm hoping to get a lot more of that this year and to see so many more of you guys on all these different locations. So it's been great. I'm going to sign off for the night. My beer is done. Oh, it's not done. Here, I'm going to finish it now. Cheers. All right. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed and watched the video. And I've got so much more coming up, so many more big plans and travels and lots of videos that I think you guys will enjoy. So thank you very much, and have a good night, guys. Cheers.